Siemens Healthcare IT assets provide additional scale, R&D, an impressive client base, and knowledgeable and experienced associates who will help Cerner achieve our plans for the next decade. The Bush cabinet is quite interesting. There are no flashy people in there, no stars. They all seem quite focused and serious and knowledgeable about the areas to which they have been appointed. NASCAR fans are very knowledgeable and very passionate. The City of London has never been known for understanding technology and has never matched Silicon Valley's tradition of knowledgeable investment in technology startups, just as the UK government has never matched the vast investment made by the US government. Valentine's Day is a perfect time to reject the idea that the ideal man is taller, richer, more knowledgeable, more renowned, or more powerful. I divide criticism into two categories, one coming from those who understand music, who are worthy of being critical because they are knowledgeable about what they are saying, and then there is another category of people who would criticize you anyway, whether your work is good or bad. I am knowledgeable enough about the world of prizes to realize that there is a large degree of luck, both for the recognitions that you receive and those that you did not. I think it reflects well on the state of animation that people are knowledgeable about it and love the fantasy and imagination that goes into it. My high school teacher, Reggie Andrews, was a huge factor in my learning my instrument. He didn't play bass, but it was the part where he gave me a knowledgeable perspective of what it was that I was doing. You feel sometimes when you hear analysts and knowledgeable people talking about Iran that they fear so much about the survival of the regime, because deep down it's not a legitimate regime. It doesn't represent the will of the people, it's kind of morphed into kind of a military theocracy. I love running in Europe, man, running at places like Zurich and Crystal Palace where the crowd is so knowledgeable and appreciative. I like Velvet Underground, but I was never really hardcore into them. I like them, and I like Nico, but I won't front like I'm super knowledgeable. I just never got around to it. Now is the most exciting time in fashion. Women are controlling their destiny now. The consumer is more knowledgeable, and I have to be better every single day. New York is great, but the New England fans are probably the most knowledgeable and ardent fans, and not just in baseball, but all sports. But Red Sox Nation is Red Sox Nation. My mother was religious, she was knowledgeable about mythology and scriptures, she could tell the metaphysical nuances and make the story come to life with their deeper significance. The current generation is missing out on this. A challenge always is good. Normal design does not come under the constraints of a small budget and time frame, but it has helped me to make quick and knowledgeable decisions. One of the eternal mysteries of ballet is how untalented choreographers find backers for their work, and then find good dancers to perform in it. Is it irresistible charm, chutzpah, pure determination, blackmail? Or are so many supposedly knowledgeable people just plain blind? Being deeply knowledgeable on one subject narrows one's focus and increases confidence, but it also blurs dissenting views until they are no longer visible, thereby transforming data collection into bias confirmation and morphing self-deception into self-assurance. I directed Bebe Neuwirth in Here Lies Jenny at the Post Street Theater. I was gobsmacked. The audiences were extremely knowledgeable, affectionate, interested, and not cynical. Obviously, that off-the-ice battle I went through, plus injuries I came back from. I always felt the fans are really knowledgeable there and respected and appreciated guys that gave whatever they had and guys that fought through things. Besides numerous science courses, I had the opportunity to study philosophy, the history of architecture, economics, and Russian history in courses taught by extraordinarily knowledgeable professors. I think Bob Costas is terrific. He's so knowledgeable. He can talk about any subject, not just sports. Even with the best of intentions, even when they're very smart and knowledgeable, as opposed to George W., who is neither, it doesn't seem to matter. But when women are moved and lend help, when women, who are by nature calm and controlled, give encouragement and applause, when virtuous and knowledgeable women grace the endeavor with their sweet love, then it is invincible. Creating organizations that value a growth mindset can create contexts in which more people grow into the knowledgeable, visionary, and responsible leaders we need. I'd like to be the commissioner of tennis, but do I want to get into politics? Sometimes I have delusions of grandeur that would be an interesting, good thing. I'm talking about actual politics, like being a congressman, but then I see how unbelievably nasty it really is, and maybe I'm not quite knowledgeable enough to actually do it. The SAT is not perfect. We all know smart, knowledgeable people who do badly on standardized tests. But neither is it useless. SAT scores do measure both specific knowledge and valuable thinking skills. Committed partisans are generally the most knowledgeable voters, independents the least. And the more political knowledge people have, the more apt they are to discuss politics with people who agree with, and reinforce, them. A final word, I am not knowledgeable about the internet. I do not have a computer. I guess that at 74 years of age, I don't have the patience to learn. Tap dancing is like, it's equivalent to music, not only for the African American community, but also for the world. Tap dancing is like language, it's like air, it's like everything else that we need in order to survive. I'm blessed and honored to be knowledgeable of the art form and to be a part of the art form. I like to read novels where the author seems knowledgeable, like someone you know you could walk calmly next to through a complicated situation, and he or she would be alive to its meaning and ironies. And you wouldn't even have to mention them out loud to each other. There are a lot of directors who are knowledgeable about images, and others who aren't. I think talented people are priceless. And I think people that are knowledgeable and experienced, and I think there's a balance of new talent and experience, which makes, I think, Estée Lauder really special. Andy Stasiuk was a newsman of the old school of front-page journalism, tough, knowledgeable, cynical, single-minded and fun. He covered the news as a happy warrior in an era of cutthroat editorial competition. I would like to be known as someone who was really sweet but also knowledgeable in all areas of life. Training with Billy Robinson is just like any martial artist who would go to the old master of the art. He's so knowledgeable. I had an inspirational teacher at my junior school, Peter Nixon. He was enthusiastic, knowledgeable and slightly scary, a good combination for a teacher. Thanks to secondary education and the internet, we're all knowledgeable now, if knowledge means the accumulation of facts. Curators are those who know how to maneuver around that knowledge. I'm a pacifist. I believe there are ways to solve the world's problems. Instead of putting all this money to create arms, I think countries should invest in scholarships for kids to study abroad. Perhaps they could become good and knowledgeable professors in their own countries. You need time for that kind of change, though. David Mamet was great to work with. He was everything that I thought he would be as a director. He's incredibly articulate, an easy collaborator, extraordinarily knowledgeable about film and writing. I noticed that this defense attorney is a very, very intelligent man, and he's very cool and he's very knowledgeable, and I think that personally I'd like to have an attorney like him. I've read the poker books, but at this point, everybody who's playing has read the poker books. I feel like I'm knowledgeable enough to understand what's going on in the game, and I understand why I suck. And I'm not sure if I'll ever rise beyond that to the level where I don't suck. I'm always going to get more of a charge playing Chicago than I will Duluth or some place like that, just because of the history and the people there are way more knowledgeable than a lot of other cities. It's an amazing music scene with some great bands and great musicians. Women are so strong and knowledgeable. You know, instead of competing with each other, I would love to complete each other. Take away that wall of competition and say, hey, let's just all get together and help each other be brilliant. For every job you require a kind of mindset. To be a teacher one should be knowledgeable. To be a software engineer you should know computer data system analysis, computer language etc. So, my mindset is not aligned with politics. I made an enjoyable living as a very young man, but I think as I became more comfortable and knowledgeable about myself and what I wanted, I moved into acting. I find that here in the States, audiences are generally less knowledgeable, from the cognitive point of view, though they are emotionally more receptive. On Planet of the Apes, I had a very knowledgeable team who knew good materials, but I had one main source person who worked online and on the street continually looking for the proper materials. People always comment about my clothes. They don't think a fashionable woman can love food and be knowledgeable and actually cook. I demand that my books be judged with utmost severity, by knowledgeable people who know the rules of grammar and of logic, and who will seek beneath the footsteps of my commas the lice of my thought in the head of my style. Visit our website for more quotes, quoting.com.